The Bluest Eye, published as the debut novel in 1970 by American Nobel Prize-winning author Toni Morrison, this is a book written without chronology that touches such difficult issues such as tragedy, pain, poverty, trauma, racism, racial profiling, humiliation, self hatred, fantasy, misogyny, social construction, or discrimination. The story begins in the 1940s with 9-year-old Claudia and 10-year-old Frida Mecter, who live in a poor neighborhood, Lorraine, Ohio, along with their parents. It is during the times of the end of the Great Depression. The McTyers give home to a boarder, Henry Washington, as well as a very poor young black girl named Piccola Breedlove, who later turns out to be the central character of the story. After her father, Collie, tries to burn down the family's house, Claudia and Frieda take pity towards her misfortune. Piccola, because of her dark appearance, is regarded by most of society as quote-unquote disturbingly and uncomfortably ugly. She also comes from a broken home wrecked by violence and pain. This contributes greatly to her infatuation with whiteness and having blue eyes. Since white people in general are treated much more better than and have better lives. She loves and envies a girl called Shirley Temple, who she believes that her whiteness makes her beautiful and popular, unlike her, as she is convinced that she is black and ugly. Aggravated by the fact that her parents often fight a lot, and because of her deep self-loathing and pity, Piccola truly believes that if she had blue eyes, she would socially be loved and her life would miraculously transform for the better. This blue eye she obsessively wishes and prays for becomes for her not only a symbol of beauty but freedom or even humanity in a society where black people are not given any. Piccola later moves back in with her family to her violent broken home. Her father Coley continues to drink while her mother Paulina is continuously distant. Meanwhile, she continuously receives social confirmation of her own perception of ugliness at school and in society in general. She is often bullied, manipulated, shamed, and humiliated because of her dark appearance, which is only perceived again as being black and ugly, which damages further her already fragile self esteem. The book then flashes back as we learn that Piccola's parents have both had tremendous scarring experiences in their young lives. Paulina, her mother, has a lame foot and has always felt isolated, which makes her lose herself in movie fantasy and grows up with this reaffirming belief, like her daughter Piccola, that she too is too ugly to ever be genuinely loved by anyone. So she greatly lowers her standards. She tries to find meaning in her life by not condemning but actually encouraging her husband's Collie's violent behavior in order to reinforce their own self-assigned role as a martyr. Collie, who is Piccola's father, on the other hand, was abandoned by his parents and raised by his great aunt, who died when he was only a young teenager. He was later humiliated by two white men who found him having sex for the first time, but still made him continue while they watched. He ran away to find his father, but a man who turned him away. By the time he met Pauline, he had become a wild and ruthless man. Though he managed to marry her, he still cannot shake the feelings of entrapment or powerlessness in his life. Later on, Coley comes home one day and finds Piccola washing dishes. With mixed feelings of love and hate that are filled with guilt, he rapes his own daughter Piccola. When Piccola's mother, Pauline, finds her unconscious on the floor, she dismisses Piccola's story and even severely beats her. Piccola, in desperation for a better life, goes to a soaphead church to a shame of a mystique and requests him to make her eyes blue for her life to change. But instead of helping her, the shame mystique simply manipulates her to kill a dog he dislikes. Claudia and Frieda find out that Piccola has been impregnated by her father because of the rape. But unlike the rest of the neighborhood who want this incestuous child to be aborted, they want Piccola's baby to live. So they sacrifice some money they have been saving for a bicycle and plant marigold seeds. This is because they believe that if the flowers bloom, so will Piccola's baby. However, the flowers refuse to bloom and Piccola's baby eventually dies when it is born prematurely. Collie then rapes Piccola a second time but runs away and later dies in a workhouse. Piccola is left descending into insanity while wrapping herself in a cloak of madness that makes her believe that her cherished wish of having bluest eyes has been fulfilled, when she in actual fact has only lost her mind.
So I wanted to have a little hurt black girl at the center of this story. So I was deeply concerned about the feelings of being ugly.
There you go with the feelings again.
That's right, just
yes.
how it feels.
Yes.
How it feels. So you've got the most vulnerable people in the world, which are children, female black children who have never held center stage in anything.
The Bluest Eye, written by Toni Morrison, explores the inescapable tragedy of being a black person in America. An inescapable tragedy that is passed from generation to generation. It takes a raw look into the mind of someone who has been conditioned by society to genuinely believe that they are ugly and the documental consequences of such a treatment. A book that is notorious for its graphic imagery and scenes. So what makes it impressive is how it does an excellent job at shedding the light towards the underlying causes or trauma of the tragic behavior of its characters' cognitive distortions, such that the characters, as misguided as they are in their choices and ways of thinking, you as the reader can still understand where they are coming from. These cognitive distortions are bred from the brutal institutionalized racism, segregation, and physical social discriminations. As shallow as Piccola Breedlove's dreams of having blue eyes may appear superficial or shallow at face value, they still can be seen as reasonable, since it's a fact that the society she lives in directly values or even gives power to people with lighter skin or blue eyes. Because of this, many white people never have or get to face the heartbreaking and humiliating scarring experiences characters like Piccola, Paulina, or the rest of her black family in general has had to face, which shatters their very humanity to pieces. And considering this book does not even have a happy ending, it's just a tragic piece of literature.
If you have an African novel you want to see Dudu summarize, do not hesitate to comment below. Don't forget to subscribe for more original, great Afrocentric content like this. Thanks for watching MeMsie Doodle Summaries.